One, two, and here I am. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. This is Ellen Mongan. Do you have just a minute to listen to Take 5? I always go forward on that. So I want you to pay attention and hear that. I have something important to say today. We're going to talk about the fire of God's love, God being on fire for God, and about Moses. Now, one day I met this friend, Ginny, and she was telling me that she taught school. And one of the funnies in her school was when she asked the children, how did God call Moses? And one little boy raised his hand and said, I know. And he said, okay, Johnny. And he said, Moses. Yes, that's right. He did say Moses, but he called him from the burning bush because the bush that he was in was a fire of God. He actually knew that it was God because the angel brought him to the bush and he said, by the way, take off your shoes. See, God called him by name. He calls all of us by name. And he calls us from the fire. Sometimes the fire in our heart is not burning so strongly. And God has to call us. And he calls us through friends or through church teachings or through scripture. Because sometimes we fall asleep. One time the Lord spoke to this word. I really, really liked it. Never forgot it. It's, I'd rather be in the fire, like of conviction, of purification, or on fire than have no fire at all. Moses heard God from the fire, and it was when Moses began to take on the ministry of helping to set the people free. God said like this, I've had enough. He gets up off his throne, he goes, set my people free. Moses was on an adventure with God. He's like a GPS. He didn't see what's before him. And he had to listen for the voice of God, which he learned to hear, and then he had to walk forward and do what God told him. That's how you stay on fire for God. Obedience, that's where the fire is. So I love this story about Moses. My husband, it was a kind of funny joke too. He would always go, I'd say, honey, can we move again? We moved 5 times in 5 years. And he'd go, unless I see the burning bush. So in early days, I would actually say to people, Pat said, unless I see the burning bush, unless I hear God's voice. So get outside of my house, put a little fire out there, and then I'll show Pat, by the way, there's a burning bush. But that's not the way it works, is it? It has to be a call from God to go where he calls you to go and do what he calls you to do. That's how you know you're in his will. You have to first hear from God, and then you have to get confirmation, because you may hear anything like, I think I heard the Lord say, move to Hawaii. We know that's not it, because Pat's a deacon here in Florida. So we just have to be content in what we have. We have to listen for the voice of God. And when we're in our prayer time, if he says something, write it down. And then make that the first thing you do that day. I'm trying to see my notes here for a minute and see if there's anything else I wanted to say. But let's just repeat what I said. Moses was called Moses from the burning bush. He was called by God to do a work to help set his people free. And he was on fire for God. What's the other time in the Bible people are on fire for God? Many times. There was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, and one like an angel right there with him, never alone. And then there was a fire that the disciples felt when Jesus was risen and walked with them on Emmaus. So stay on fire today and set God's people free. It could be from a hug. I was lonely today, you set me free. It could be from a scripture. I needed to hear that today. You just set my spirit free, alive in my heart. That the Emmaus walk. They felt the fire of God burning in their heart because they knew they were loved. They knew Jesus was real and he was there. So seek in your word today and make it a good Lent. Learn something new every day and then learn from others. Learn from God himself. Learn from the church and walk close to the Lord. Because I'd rather be on fire or in the fire than no fire at all. I say to people this is my last thought. When you're sick, after a week, go to the doctor. If you're not hearing from God, you're not saying, whoa, I haven't heard from you in a while, Lord. Go to a mentor. Go talk with someone, the priest, and say, what is going on? Maybe go to confession. That always sets my people free. Thank you so much. It's Ellen Mongan at Take 5. You can find me on Wow Mom. And you can also find on YouTube. And you can also find me at Mom's Best. No, I'm wrong again. I always forget my email. My email is wowellen@yahoo.com. I do a show, Wow Mom, this week. Look for it. It's going to be on Lent. You're going to love it. And my co-host, Jane Ann Bombrick, I always remember hers, dimeadozen.com. Maybe I should change mine. May you have a blessed day. Now, for 1 minute of your time, thank you. Pass it on. Take 5. That's today. I say like this. That's a wrap.